How can you make your life more extraordinary? Well, that's a pretty loaded question, right? Because it really depends on what is an extraordinary life to you. How do you define an extraordinary life? Does it mean you are making more money? Does it mean you have incredible relationships, or that you have nice things, or that you have emotional or physical health? Or maybe it's that you have a strong spiritual base or practice that you use every single day. What is an extraordinary life to you? And regardless how you answer that question, or maybe you're still not sure, I want to give you a strategy and a formula that I use that helps me to make my life more extraordinary so that you can do the same exact thing. Let's get right to it. You might be asking yourself, Brandon, who are you to tell me what I can do to make my life extraordinary? And it's a great question to ask. And the answer to that is, I believe that I live an extraordinary life. I have great relationships with those who matter most to me in my life. I have a beautiful and wonderful wife, Bree, who I've been with for coming on 10 years now. I have a great income, and I have a business that allows me to share what's helped me in my personal and my professional life to help other people live an extraordinary life. And the list goes on, but it really depends on what you define as an extraordinary life. And regardless what that definition is for you, I have a 5-step formula that will help you to make your life even more extraordinary. So let me show you what that is. I believe that an extraordinary life breaks down to these 5 key principles, which I've coined as the 5 P's of an extraordinary life. And I found the order of these different P's by going through my own life and making changes and making positive transformations, because my life has not always been extraordinary. When I was in my early 20s, I was heavily overweight. I was in a ton of credit card debt. I was a gossiper. I didn't have really any great relationships in my life. And I knew that something had to change. And the order that I made those personal changes is how I came up with the concept of the 5 P's that will help you to make your life even more extraordinary. So these are the 5 different P's in the formula. You've got power, your personal power. You might be asking, what does that really mean? Well, the first change that I had to make in my life in order to even start to make my life more extraordinary is I had to have more emotional power. I was very depressed. I was always practicing the emotions of anxiety and depression and sadness, and I really had no idea what I wanted my life to look like. And because I lacked that forward vision, because I lacked goals for my life, I was very drained emotionally. I had no emotional power in my life. And it also had to do with my physical health, my physical power. Because the first P in the 5 P's is all about your emotional and your physical power. What kind of physical shape are you in? What does your body look like? What does your body, more importantly, feel like? How do you feel as you go through your life on a daily, monthly, and yearly basis? Are you full of energy? Because I believe energy is power. The more energy that you have to go throughout your days, the better you're going to feel throughout life. And you can have all these other P's that make up an extraordinary life, but if you lack the first one, if you lack energy, if you lack power, then how extraordinary can your life really be? If you have money, if you have relationships, if you have nice things, if you have even a spiritual practice, but you lack energy and you lack power, then how are you going to enjoy this extraordinary life that you built for yourself? So power is the first building block of an extraordinary life. And then it leads us down to the next one, which helped me to make big changes in my life, which is your path. And when it comes to path, let me ask you this. What are you actively working towards on a daily basis? Maybe you have a job where you work inside of a company, or maybe you own your own business and you're watching this. If you have a job and you're going to work every single day to earn a paycheck, what are you earning that money for? What is the higher vision for your life? What are you actively working towards on a daily basis? What does your future look like? 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years, 10 years, what is your long-term vision and path for your life? You know, if you don't know what you want, then any road will lead you there. And when you're at the end of that road, the worst thing is to look back and realize that you didn't nearly realize your potential throughout your life. And having a path, having a specified plan, one that's specific and measurable and realistic and attainable, and one that has a deadline, will help you to realize that extraordinary life, because the beautiful thing about life is you get to determine what you want it to look like, regardless of outside circumstances. For some people, of course, it's going to be more difficult based on where you live, how you grew up, the people around you, the opportunities that present themselves to you. But that's 5% of the equation. The other 95% is you actually practicing these different principles and improving on a daily basis, which we're going to talk about in a bit. And if you're new to this YouTube channel, I'm Brandon Eastman, and we upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to help you to live an extraordinary life. So be sure to go down there and hit the subscribe button, because we release videos every week that talk about each one of these 5 principles. So that's path, which leads us to the third P in the 5 Ps, which is, what is your purpose? Now, this is a big word, and if you want to dive deep into purpose and how you can figure out what your purpose really is and what that word even means in itself, then go up here and check out one of my newest videos where I dive deep into purpose, because that will significantly help you on this step in the process. But to me, a short way to talk about what purpose is purpose is using what you have to give to others. Because purpose is finding a higher calling in what it is you do. So if you go to a job every single day, and then you come home, and then you go to bed and you do it all over again, what is the reason for doing what you do? What is the higher purpose, the higher calling for spending all those hours at a company? Are you fulfilling your higher purpose? Purpose is using what you have in order to help others. And I believe we all have the capacity to help other people with our past experiences and with the specialized knowledge that we have, as well as your own story. I mean, what am I doing right now? I'm sharing with you past experiences and past strategies and principles that I've used and created and learned from other people, so that I can translate that information to you to help you to make your life more extraordinary. So that's the third P. And then it leads us to the fourth one, which is people. Now, this has to do with the relationships that you have in your life. Tony Robbins has a quote where he says, "The quality of your life is a direct representation of the quality of your relationships." If you have great relationships, if you have a strong social circle of friends and colleagues and loved ones, then you're probably living a pretty extraordinary life. The relationships that you have with people and your ability to communicate with other people and to solve problems and quarrels and whatever else might come in the way of you developing great relationships, it's only going to help you to make your life even more extraordinary. People is everything, right? I wouldn't be doing what I do without my wife in my life. I wouldn't be doing what I do without the people that I want to serve to help them improve. People is really what it all comes down to. And after you have these 4 Ps, once you have your personal power, your physical and your emotional energy, once you have your path, you know what direction you want to go in, and you have goals and a clear-cut plan to reach them, even if that plan changes. Once you understand your purpose, your higher calling, your reason for being here on this earth, and once you develop great relationships with people, then it comes down to using the ultimate success formula, which is progression. Progressing towards an even more extraordinary life. Once you have the foundation, which is these 4, if you ask yourself, what is the real definition of happiness? Ask yourself this right now. When have you felt most happy and proud of yourself in your everyday life? And the answer probably comes down to something like, it's when I achieved something. It's when I was making progress towards a worthy realization. It's when I was making progress towards living the extraordinary life that I want to create for myself. It's when you did something that resulted in a breakthrough for you, whether it was personally or whether it was professionally. Progression is you actively taking steps towards realizing the better life that you can and will be living on a daily basis. Progress equals happiness. And that's why progression is the 5th P in this formula. Now you might be saying, Brandon, you just threw a lot of information at me, right? There's a lot of different areas that I can be improving in, but the real question is, what one should I work on first? Should I work on my energy? Should I work on my purpose? Should I work on my path? Like, so many different things. And the important thing to realize here is life is complex, right? There's a lot of different elements that go into making your life extraordinary and maintaining that extraordinary life, which is where progression comes into play. So really, we're talking about which of these 4 different elements should we choose to begin working on first. And this is my answer to you. Clarity is power. Knowing exactly which area you should place most of your efforts and most of your focus and most of your attention in will determine the speed that you're able to make progress towards the extraordinary life that you have in your mind's eye, right? So clarity is power. So let me ask you this. Out of physical and emotional energy and having goals for your life and having a path ahead and understanding your purpose and the reason why you're here and developing great relationships with people and having communication skills so you can build those relationships. Out of these 4 key P's, these 4 key areas, which one is the one that is most lacking for you right now in your life? Which one is the one that's very behind? Right? Maybe it's your energy. You wake up in the morning and you just don't have that lust for life that you truly desire and that you truly want. Or maybe you feel alone. Maybe you don't have great relationships and you should begin with starting to find new people that resonate with your vision. But my question for you is, how can you develop great relationships if you don't even know what that vision is? If you don't even have goals? You won't be able to find people who resonate with what you believe in. And that's why for me, I went in this order. The first thing that I worked on was my emotional health. It was having more positive thoughts, more thoughts that served me so that I could activate the law of attraction to bring me new opportunities that I could work towards. It was getting my physical body in great shape. It was creating more physical energy by going to the gym and by eating more clean foods, more living foods versus ice cream and bags of chips and all that jazz, right? Once I had my emotions and my physical body in check, that's when I started to create goals because I actually had the energy to understand what I wanted to achieve in my life. And after I created goals, after I knew exactly what I wanted to do, that's when I asked myself, what am I doing this for? What is my higher calling? What should I be placing all of my efforts and all of my additional time into? And that's how I understood my purpose. And that's what led me to people and to developing great relationships. And you might have 1 or 2 friends in your life who they're your ride or die, right? They're your top people. They're the ones who you can go to. They'd give you the shirts off their back and you love spending time with them. And that's amazing. And I want you to keep those friends. But once you have these 3 P's in check, you're gonna find more people who resonate and have likeness to you and what you want to achieve. And after you have all 4, then you can begin making progress to improving in all of them. I know that I've just given you a lot of information to take in, and I hope that this has given you some more insight on which of those 5 key areas you should begin to place your focus towards. And the real key is choose one of them, not 2, not 3, not 4, and definitely not 5. Choose one of them that you can place all of your attention, all of your focus, all of your energy towards. And every single day, make one move in the right direction towards improving in that area. Just that. Just begin there. One thing every single day that will help you to make forward progress in that area. And do that over and over until you notice and continue to track and monitor your progress. And once you see continuous growth and you place that on autopilot, then move to the next one. And then go to the next one. The thing about life is it's a long game. It's not about quick, short bursts of changes and improvement. It's about lifelong improvement so that you're not going to look a week ahead and notice the drastic changes that you've made. Maybe you will in specific areas, but understand that all change takes time, right? And when you look back a year from now, you're going to see all the amazing things that you've been able to accomplish. But imagine what you'll see when you look back 5 years from now. 10 years from now. We often overestimate what we can do in 1 year, but we heavily underestimate what we can do in 5 years or a decade. So choose one of those areas and begin putting in the work to improve in it. Now, what I want to give you is a digital copy of my book called Be Extraordinary, Your Guide to Self-Mastery. And if you click the link below, it'll ask you for your name and your email. I'll send you a digital copy of my book, which will help you to make your life more extraordinary, but it will give you actual strategies that you can use in each one of those key areas that I just showed you. Click the link below, get the free digital copy of the book, and I hope that it serves you well. And until we talk again next time, continue to be better.